A lot of the propaganda and disinformation is geared towards taking people away from their spiritual growth. And as you contemplate this, take a deep breath. You contemplate what it takes for your soul voltage to increase, to evolve. Because that's why I believe that we are here, period. And there are certain things that can take us away from evolving or growing. There are certain things that can attack our spirit, put us into fear. Fear is used to control the masses. There are many ways in which whole-scale civilizations have been eradicated off the planet solely through fear. We've seen, through fear, we've seen disinformation on Facebook, disinformation on YouTube. A lot of that's coming out now. Even if you have some political disagreements with those that are carrying the torch, if you will. But yes, social media has been used for a long time to divide people. Of course, people often come together, often against the people that they hate. Whether it's Donald Trump or whether it's Barack Obama. But what about people coming together over solid principles? Things regarding character, not race, not religion, not politics, not sports, and how politics in this last year has, in so many ways, appeared to be something out of the NFL, with the excitement and people almost knowing the elements of it are fake, like wrestling, as we literally see Donald Trump in the ring of the WWE. So it's about soul survival. If someone out of fear starts to participate in a demonization campaign of a whole group of people, it could be argued that they are on their own highway to hell. Some of these people cannot be helped. You know, I think that it was exciting for me to organize a 1-hour program and turn it into Portland, Oregon, starting a few months ago with Ashley. And thanks to her help, for a few months, right, I was reaching Portlanders again. It was like a third time bringing my show back. So overall, OTB TV, Outside the Box TV, aired on Portland cable access for about 8 years in Portland. Even recently, as I said, when I was away. But I felt recently, you know, what's the point in incessantly warning people about the same scenarios? You know what? You know, and I got to this point, I've done my part. I've done my part. I've tried to reach a whole region, a whole metro area that, you know, Portland proper and Vancouver and surrounding areas, you're on well over 1 million people. Maybe 1.2, I don't know, it's grown fairly large. That's one of the reasons why, in the area in which I was born, Good Samaritan Hospital, 1980, Portland, Oregon. That's why I've been reaching them. It's not so much like a vision on the same level of Leon, the person speaking in Fourth Worst Rising. If you haven't seen that, go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, and the videos start auto-playing. I'll change it out here shortly, but he had visions of large earthquakes before America's defenses are breached. We're talking about an invasion scenario. And as I started looking at the sunspots, the geomagnetic storms and the correlation to world events, something that I should probably start looking at again, making more videos about here on YouTube. And some of the events that we've seen recently. And yes, Charlottesville. Several times in a row they did this during the full moon. Whether you picked up on that or not, they returned in the other day as the full moon was peaking. Kind of a coinkydink. Whether Richard Spencer is acting on that knowledge or he's acting on behalf of something else that's scheduling his parties and his meetups for him. But for me, it's been life-changing to stumble upon what I believe is a truth. While a lot of people over here looking at Bible codes and other cycles, to stumble upon this correlation, this cause and effect, sun and world events, that's a big, big deal. So I have felt a responsibility. It doesn't mean that I'm done. It means that I'm going to be focusing more of my attention here on YouTube. Now, it's here on YouTube that I'm reaching the most souls. And I'm not going to be putting preference of one region over another. And I think about the whole world. Unfortunately, I'm not able to reach the whole world because YouTube itself does not reach the whole world. It reaches the Western world and a little bit beyond. But there are many people that are not. So the people, for the most part, that I'm reaching are in the Western world. And I do believe that people are drawn to my channel for more than what they're getting from other places. And I see other channels, they get religious. Oh, they get religious. And they talk about Jesus, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the actual principles, the Christian principles, or the principles of saving your own soul, things like that, surviving the entrapment game. What does it actually mean to not lie against your neighbor? How do we apply actual biblical Christian terms and principles to the actual real world around us? Let me ask you a question. Out of the top alternative media figures that are reading the Bible right now, who could I be talking about? Are you seeing genuine Christian principles from their behaviors and how they discuss the world situation and how innocent people are treated out of fear? Or do they promote fear of people under the guise of keeping America safe and then merging that with the alleged Christian concepts and ideals? But I think this is probably time to start looking more at some of the Gnostic texts that I haven't read yet. I know that last year I did a reading of the Gospel of St. Thomas. And if you haven't heard that, check that out. It was done last winter while living here off the grid. So there was a lot of podcasts and a lot of ideas that I was purging with regards to the nature of the soul. And looking back at my own behavioral patterns, I can see how I engage in more dialogue regarding that inner light, as the actual physical light is less prevalent in our skies throughout the day as we experience more darkness. At the moment the sun is rising, no offense, but as we experience, it's like, wait a minute, here, let me move the clouds. There we go. It actually was back in Costilla County, Colorado, that I actually gave my first honest focus or thought to the idea of cloud busting with one's consciousness. I have not done that here. I have not done that since. And I'm talking about 2013, right? I had like no internet, nothing but books. Sometimes my car broke it down, and I have like enough food and water, and I'm just stuck there in the middle of nowhere. This is like before the war on off the grid living, and I was blessed to have that. Honestly, I think a lot of the things that I've done regarding my traveling, even if some of it was painful, has been something about soul retrieval. There's been a reason I've visited some of these places. There's a reason that I've returned and left some of these places, and I don't think that it's proven that this is our only life experience. There could be periods, or there could be other reasons why we're drawn to certain places on the planet where the magnetics are different. So one of the things that I've dealt with up here is there is a sense of quiet, but also a sense of intensity. Sometimes it feels like, I'm in a really intense spot where I live, where my shed is. I pick up on a lot of things around me. A lot of sounds. Unfortunately, of course, because there's traffic, it can be a little annoying. But by having greater focus, right, there's greater responsibility on what we put our focus on, what we're receptive to. So our souls can find themselves under attack, and we start picking up on this negativity. We could be growing in frequency, in voltage. And that could be the moment where all of a sudden we're just spinning and spinning with all these unfortunate circumstances, car issues, who knows what it is, dream invasions, issues with people, things of that nature. But I also look online and I look at other people, right, and stories and circumstances that are on the spiritual path, that are trying to retrieve their own soul, that are going through tremendous challenge in the physical reality, in this physical reality, because they're working to grow. They're working to feed their own soul. And it's important to understand that this is natural. This is a part of the process. You know, we're going to deal with that energy backlash. We're going to deal with contrast. We're going to deal with distractions. Hey, look over here. And sometimes they're not always going to be unpleasant distractions. Sometimes the distractions from feeding our soul will be full of pleasure. Hey, look over here. Bite the apple. You know, or in some sense, and some people may have had their own experience where they've been tempted. And we are in a day and age where the soul is going through tremendous temptation. Temptation towards one direction, temptation towards another. Some things will feed our soul, will fill our soul with light, which may in some cases bring us under attack by these dark entities that also share the space with us. Or, right, we can sell our soul or lease our soul and be rewarded by those same beings. Rewarded with, many partners and lots of money and lots of physical things and lots of things of the ego, physical possessions. And some people live for that. Some people are at a level of such great soul ignorance that they would lease out their soul or sell their soul without realizing the consequence. I think some of us, for whatever reason, however we came to this understanding, we see that it's pointless to lease our soul, because I don't really believe you can sell it. I don't know where I even came up with that. But I don't believe that it's right to rent out or lease out our soul to the devil of this world for material things, because what we do here in this world does have meaning. And with that, I will be back with more.